is Crystal Fletcher. I'm a lieutenant with the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department in the Public Affairs Division. Thank you all for joining us here today. Each quarter, CMPD conducts a public safety briefing to update the community on current crime trends and to talk about the proactive measures we're taking to ensure the safety of our residents. Today, we're releasing third quarter crime statistics covering January through September of 2025. Thanks to the collective efforts of our officers and our community partners, overall crime is down 8%. Violent crime has declined 20%. This is the third quarter in a row that we've seen that downward trend. Violent crime includes homicides, rapes, robberies, aggravated assaults, which include shootings. One of the most encouraging trends within this category is a 24% reduction in homicides so far this year. There have been 62 homicides in the first 3 quarters of this year compared to 82 last year. While this is a notable decrease, 62 homicides are still too many. Disagreements should never end in tragedy. Violence should never be the option, regardless of your beliefs, your background, or your circumstances. Yet too often, reckless decisions end in tragedy, leaving families to grieve the loss of their loved ones. Our detectives remain relentless in pursuing justice on their behalf. Thanks to the tireless dedication of our detectives, 80% of homicides year to date have been cleared by arrest. Homicides will rightfully capture headlines, but they are only one part of the story. Property crime has also fallen 5% compared to the same time frame last year, showing progress on multiple fronts. Property crime includes burglaries, auto thefts, and larcenies. While these numbers are trending in the right direction, we know data alone can't capture the real impact crime has on victims and their families. If you are the victim of a crime or you know someone who has been victimized, it can shape your perception of Charlotte, safety in Charlotte. In reality, overall and violent crime have both declined significantly. However, high-profile incidents and the influence of social media can distort public perception, making crime seem more prevalent than it truly is. Our goal at CMPD is to not only reduce crime, but to build trust by being transparent, sharing accurate data, and responding directly to our community's concerns. Safety just isn't about statistics. It's about how people feel in their homes, in their neighborhoods, and the places that they frequent. We take those feelings seriously as well, because Charlotte is our community as well. We remain committed to reducing and preventing crime, addressing ongoing challenges, and ensuring Charlotte remains a safe place for everyone. Our speakers today will dive deeper into the data and the strategies that continue to make a difference in our community. First up to speak will be Deputy Chief Jackie Briley. Chief.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here. I'm Deputy Chief Jackie Briley. I'm over our patrol operations for CMPD. I'm here to say a few things and then we'll answer any questions at the very end. On a daily and a nightly basis, our patrol officers respond to 911 calls. These calls can consist of emergencies, traffic concerns, violent and property crimes, as well as quality of life concerns in our neighborhood. Our officers are focused on keeping Charlotte safe, preventing and reducing victimization, and strengthening our bond between CMPD and the people who live and work in our community. Patrol officers are the most visible and the most vital part of our job. They're in our communities, they're building relationships, they're deterring crime, and they're providing services to our Charlotte residents. Every day, our officers intervene in minor and large disputes. They stop crimes in progress, and they prevent violence without it ever making the news. Year to date, CMPD's had over 700,000 911 calls. with over 400,000 police interactions. That means over 400,000 times so far this year, a CMPD officer has interacted with someone living, working, or visiting Charlotte. The proactive work done by our officers are reflected in our activity. Our officer-initiated efforts are up 18%. Our gun seizures alone are up 25%, with 3,167 illegal firearms seized so far. And additionally, our arrests are up 15%. While we consider these increases progress, we know violent and property crime continues to be on the minds of our citizens. Robberies and aggravated assaults, including shootings, can deeply impact a sense of safety in our neighborhoods. These crimes have lasting effects on our victims and the perception of crime in our city. Knowing the substantial impact of robberies and aggravated assaults, CMPD remains steadfast in proactively addressing these areas. The stats reflect a continued decline in these categories through the third quarter. During this period, robberies have dropped by 22% and aggravated assaults by 19% compared to the same time last year. These are the results that reflect consistent, behind-the-scenes efforts that make a real impact. While these numbers we share today reflect our entire city, spanning all 13 divisions and our airport, we recognize the recent events, mainly in our Central Division, have captured national attention, shaping the perceptions of safety in our city. Our Central Division, which encompasses Uptown, covers 4.2 square miles. That's less than 1% of our entire jurisdiction. We recently spent some time in our Central Division during a community walk the block event. We started at around 11:45 p.m. and went to about 2:30 a.m., checking lighting, discussing concerns with some of the community members, and highlighting the great work being done by our officers and our partners. That experience reaffirmed how making proactive policing and community engagement are making a real difference. Building on that energy and recognizing that violent instances and disturbances sometimes can occur in our busiest entertainment areas, we took some steps to re-implement our entertainment district unit and a new initiative created by the Central Division, the Crown Initiative. You may have heard about some of these initiatives at last week's Center City Partners press conference, but I'll touch briefly on them today as well. Our Entertainment District Unit, or EDU, is a specialized unit that's going to focus on making Uptown and South End nightlife safer. This unit works during peak days and nightlife hours, ensuring high visibility and policing around our bars, our nightclubs, and our major venues. The EDU focuses on building strong partnerships with our bar owners, our managers, and our security to prevent incidents before they occur. For us, this is shifting from a reactive approach to a proactive approach, and also having the mindset of holding these stakeholders accountable for what occurs on their properties. With only 11 days of operation, our EDU so far has conducted 43 traffic stops, made 16 arrests, seized 6 firearms, and 284 grams of illegal narcotics. That's in 11 days. The Crown Initiative is a Central Division focus on high-impact effort through increased police presence, strict enforcement, and close collaboration with our community partners. The approach will balance accountability, compassion, and enforcing quality of life laws such as illegal street vending, disorderly conduct, and public disruption, while also connecting those in need with resources like our CARES team, Roof Above, and Hearts for the Invisible. The Crown Initiative is a collaborative effort with specialized CMPD units, the District Attorney's Office, and code enforcement. Our goal at CMPD is to restore public confidence and reduce crime and reinforce a sense of safety for our Uptown and South End communities. In fact, this is our goal across our entire city. To support these goals, a public safety task force was comprised with city leaders, Center City Partners, and was formed to address some of our Uptown concerns. This is a working group that works collaboratively toward the shared goal of reducing crime. I want to acknowledge some of our members are here today to support us. Thank you for being here. One of our patrol operations' top priorities going into our recent summer months was to strategically reorganize our crime reduction units, otherwise known as our CRU. Previously, they operated in individual divisions, but we decided to combine those resources to create a stronger level of service. We're deploying these units across our city and to address our crime trends and our needs. This reorganization and deployment strategy started on July 5th, and we're showing strong results. Our Southeast Service Area, CRU, has recently been deployed in our Central Division to assist with our efforts. As part of these efforts, this team has conducted 519 traffic stops. Since July 5th, they made 144 arrests, seized 112 firearms, along with 4,785 grams of illegal narcotics. Again, that's since July 5th. These numbers are only for the Southeast Service Area. That covers Central Division, Providence, Eastway, Independence. This is an impressive accomplishment with less than 100 days. Sergeant Todd Martin will come shortly to share a little bit more information on our successes for the entire city in a moment. At CMPD, we continue to find innovative, effective ways to deploy our resources. We're listening to the community. We're collaborating with our community partners to ensure a safer Charlotte. CMPD is fully engaged in protecting our community. Our officers are working with dedication and purpose every day across our city. Oftentimes, our officers are called on to be everything to all people, including mediators, social workers, mental health assessors, while trying to do the job that they actually signed up to do by being peacekeepers in our community and protecting those in need. Sergeant Todd Martin will discuss our CRUs.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sergeant Todd Martin. I currently serve as a sergeant over the Southeast Service Area Crime Reduction Unit. Crime Reduction Units, or CRUs, play a vital role in CMPD's work to reduce violent crime. These units work persistently to identify target high crime areas, reducing victimization and creating a safer community. As you have heard already today, overall crime is down 8%. Violent crime is down 20% for the third consecutive quarter. These are positive strides we are proud of and something the city should be proud of as well. As Deputy Chief Briley noted, CRUs have made a positive impact in these efforts. Since the reorganization of CRU in July, teams across all 4 service areas have made over 1,256 traffic stops, 450 arrests, seized over 282 illegal firearms, and approximately 36,530 grams of illegal narcotics. That amount equates to over 80 pounds. Their actions are undoubtedly saving lives. In July, during a target enforcement deployment at a nightclub known for past violent incidents in the Uptown District, CRU officers observed an illegal narcotics transaction in the venue's parking lot. Officer detained the suspect in the transaction, Jamari Lyles, a convicted felon for first-degree attempted murder. In a probable cause search of the vehicle, officers located and seized approximately 22 grams of suspected fentanyl pills and an illegal firearm. Imagine how many lives could have been saved by these, could have been destroyed by these deadly pills or an illegal weapon. Lyles was charged with the following: possession of a firearm by convicted felon, trafficking by fentanyl by transport, trafficking fentanyl by possession, and resisting delay obstructing an officer. In another recent case from July, our CRU officers conducted a traffic stop on a vehicle in the area of North College Street and 9th Street in the Uptown District of Charlotte. During a probable cause search of that vehicle, officers located and seized 2 illegal firearms, approximately 476 grams of suspected marijuana, and approximately 13 suspected oxycodone pills, and 1 bottle of promethazine hydrochloride. Upon further investigation, one of the seized firearms, after gaining intel, was involved in a May 2025 homicide case in Charlotte. The suspects, Jacoby Meeks and Willie Morrow, have known gang associations and were suspects in a 2024 case in which multiple Glock switches were seized. In connection with this incident, Meeks was charged with the following: possession with intent to sell, deliver marijuana, possession with intent to sell, manufacture, and deliver a Schedule II controlled substance, maintain, sell, deliver, or possess a controlled substance within 1,000 feet of a park, and possession of marijuana. Merle was charged with the following: possession with intent to manufacture and sell Schedule II controlled substance, and an outstanding warrant for possession of a stolen firearm was served at the time of his arrest. By removing firearms and drugs from the streets, our CRUs are preventing future violent crimes and potential loss of life. But behind the numbers, we're seeing a troubling pattern. Many of these crimes are being committed by repeat offenders, both adults and juveniles in our community. By increasing incident and victimization numbers, habitual offenders inflate crime statistics, while in reality, multiple incidents are the work of one or a few individuals. A disproportionate number of violent incidents and property crimes are being committed by individuals with extensive criminal histories, many of whom continue to cycle through the justice system without facing meaningful consequences. This lack of accountability undermines community safety and places an undue burden on victims, neighborhoods, and law enforcement resources. The two case highlights that I just shared with you show this issue within the system. All three adult suspects mentioned had prior violent criminal histories to include charges for attempted first-degree murder and robbery with a dangerous weapon, and possession of a weapon of mass destruction, and carrying a concealed weapon. The issue extends beyond adults. Juveniles are also repeatedly cycling through the system with little accountability. Since the beginning of this year, a 15-year-old juvenile is suspected to have been involved in more than 48 CMPD cases, mainly larceny from autos and auto thefts. The juvenile's phone was seized as evidence in an investigation. During one of these incidents, along with 3 firearms. The following were Google searches found on the juvenile's cell phone. What is the charge for killing an officer? Is police murder a charge? What is capital murder? I'm going to pause for a moment and let that sink in. These are the things a 15-year-old in possession of multiple firearms was searching. Since August of 2023, the juvenile has had 111 arrests, severely impacting property crime and victimization numbers. Despite the juvenile's delinquency history and repeat offender status, the juvenile was released back into the community in September. The actions of this one individual have led to the victimization of countless residents. Offenders, whether adult or juvenile, must be held accountable. As you can see from just a few examples shared today, the cycle of catch and release does not reduce crime in our community. While the person committing the crimes is ultimately responsible for their actions, others must step up to help ensure they are held accountable. These include families, friends, criminal justice partners, community organizations, and local leaders. In fact, over 60% of violent criminal arrests involved individuals with prior arrests, highlighting the urgent need for a more effective collaborative approach for breaking the cycle of repeat offending. We cannot make a meaningful, lasting impact alone. We must work together to address the gaps in the system and create lasting solutions. These cases not only highlight gaps in the system, but also the diligent work of our officers, detectives, and professional staff. They also show that CMPD is doing our part, and we will continue to do our part in keeping the city of Charlotte safe. At this time, I would like to invite Lieutenant Crystal Fletcher back up to conclude this press conference. Thank you.
As I close, I want to take a moment to say how proud we are of our officers. They are on the front lines every day, engaging with the community, observing suspicious activity, and providing our detectives with critical information needed to identify and charge offenders. The progress we're making in reducing violent crime is the result of strong, ongoing teamwork. But public safety is not the responsibility of law enforcement alone. It requires a united effort. The progress we're making in reducing, in addition to support from our criminal justice partners and local leaders, we also need the community's eyes, ears, and voices to help report crime and bring offenders to justice. We're asking you to be a part of that effort by reporting anything suspicious and sharing information that could help solve crimes. Tips can always be submitted anonymously through Charlotte Crime Stoppers by calling 334-1600 by using the P3 Tips mobile app or visiting charlottecrimestoppers.com. We also encourage everyone to take a few simple precautions to help reduce crime. Lock your vehicles, secure your valuables, and remove unsecured firearms. You've heard today about repeat offenders targeting vehicles again and again. A small step like locking your car or removing a firearm could prevent a theft and possibly that weapon from being used in a violent crime. Finally, we invite residents and businesses to partner with us through Connect Charlotte, a program that allows you to register your security cameras and help enhance safety in your neighborhood. To learn more, visit connectcharlotte.org. Together, through partnerships and shared responsibility, we can continue to make Charlotte a safer place for everyone. At this time, we will take a few questions on the information we have presented here today.
Despite what you said about the repeat offenses and the public perception based on the violent crime, what's your response to people who still feels unsafe and are looking towards federal intervention?
Yes, I will let Deputy Chief answer.
I'm sorry, sir, could you repeat that question?
So we saw a lot about the stats and we saw the statistics, but the statistics don't tell the whole story. My question is about public perception, people still feeling unsafe with these high-profile cases and increasing push for federal intervention. What's your response to those residents who are looking towards that federal intervention?
So in reference to federal intervention, I can't really, I don't have a response, and I know we work with our federal partners to present as many cases as we can with our task force that we work. Like we said earlier, we don't minimize people's feelings of unsafe. Anytime someone's a victim of a crime, that's a violation. Like you saw on the slide earlier, with the 111 events or arrests and 55 of those being property crimes, that's 55 victims of a crime. That's 55 people's cars who was broken into. That's a violation. And so we take that serious, and we know that we want people to feel safe, and we understand that that's their reality. So we don't minimize that, and that's why we're trying to do everything we can to really go after the individuals that are creating a large amount of these incidents in our area. So our goal is to try to make sure that we put the right people in the right places.
So does the city need the National Guard?
I can't. I know that our officers are proud of the work that they do, right? And so I know that they take pride in the work that they do every day in Charlotte. We don't have any stance on requesting of the National Guard. That is something that was not requested by CMPD.
Deputy Chief, so clearly a word that you guys are being told to use is perception. Well, let's talk a little bit about reality. Reality in the Central Division, murders are up 200%. Violent crimes across the board in the Central Division are through the roof. Drug interactions and drug crimes are way higher. So that's the reality part of it. 18,000 more interactions, gun seizures up 25%, as well as the arrests are up 15% across the board. So if that's the case, logic would seem to dictate that there are either way more violent criminals and way more criminals in Charlotte, or you guys are just doing a better job of arresting people. So which one is it? Because you got all those extra numbers, so there's got to be a reason why all those extra numbers are happening. There's either way more criminals, or you guys are doing a better job.
I mean, I think we've discussed it multiple times. As our city continues to grow, we're going to have more influx of people. Our uptown is built for nightlife. People don't just come from Charlotte to come to our uptown and our center city to enjoy themselves. They come from all over the region. And so, unfortunately, what we're seeing is, as Crystal stated earlier, when someone gets into a disagreement in a bar or a nightclub, they go back out to their car. They get into a shooting. That's why we're telling people, don't bring your guns. Don't leave them unsecured. Don't leave them in the car. That's why we're focusing in those areas. Unfortunately, alcohol and guns, people don't make good decisions. And there are some things that we're trying to prevent that's in our control, and there are some things that if people are going to resort to guns to settle a petty argument, that's hard to prevent.
So crime is clearly up in Uptown, clearly, across the board. How long will it take for Uptown to be maybe as safe as South Division or the Providence Division or other divisions that are out there? How long is that going to take to eradicate a lot of the crime that's going on and go back to what it was?
I mean, I don't think we can put a number or a time frame on how long. I know that the efforts are going to continue. Like we said, we're going to continue with our Crown Initiative to have almost a zero tolerance when it comes to some of the quality of life issues and some of the issues around our bars and our nightclubs. So there's not a time frame on that. We're just going to continue to push and press, and again, work with the district attorney's office and work with our community partners to make sure that we make some lasting impacts. Because again, if we can take one person who may be committing 5 to 10 part ones in one night off the street, that's going to impact our numbers.
Deputy Chief, is there a reason you all stopped the weekly crime stats back in August? We haven't seen a weekly crime stat report in several months.
I don't run that's a PIO question. They can follow up with you on that.
I'm just from a public safety standpoint, I'm sure a lot of people curious. The timing was right after the light rail stabbing, seemingly no weekly crime reports since that. Is that an internal choice, just again to put people's minds at ease, to put the perception to rest? Why not be transparent with the weekly crime data?
Okay, I can follow up with our public information office. That's not something that runs through patrol operations.
And then I have a second question regarding juvenile crime. I was looking through some of the homicide numbers. I think we've had 11 juveniles killed this year. That's on pace to match or beat the numbers for all of last year. What's being done specifically to target juveniles? What initiatives are in place? What intervention programs are in place? We're seeing more teenagers arrested as well. What's being done to combat teen violence specifically?
So CMPD has tons of multiple programs in place where we're trying to address teen violence. But it really, we sit down and we have these meetings and we really try to figure out, which partners, what can help us. And, we can bring in faith-based organizations, we can bring in mentor groups, we can lead efforts through our Envision program and our REACH program. But, at the end of the day, this starts at home. And that's something that, CMPD can't fix. And so if you have a 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old and they're not at home at night, they're somewhere, that starts at home. And so I think part of what's missing is these conversations that used to take place in our communities where these young people lay their heads at night somewhere. And so when they're coming in all hours of the night, somebody needs to be having conversations, whether that's a parent, a guardian, an aunt, an uncle, somebody in that child's life to say, hey, excuse me, this path is going to lead two ways, right? And those are the conversations that we used to have. So whether or not those conversations are not being had at this time. And that's honestly where, our opinion is where we can do better, and we can start working with our families and getting them some resources to have those conversations with these young people. Because ultimately, by the time they hit the streets at 2 o'clock in the morning at any place, whether or not it's off of Beatty's Ford, Sugar Creek, Uptown Charlotte, this all starts at home.
So like the 15-year-old, for example, with 111 arrests, what can be done after a certain point? Is more intervention needed? Or what would you like to see to help prevent another 111 arrests?
I mean, ideally, we'd like to see that individual placed in a program where we can start diverting those activities, because if they are out on the street, unfortunately, they're going to go back to what they're used to. And unfortunately, we've had juvenile homicide victims. And so again, this is not just about incarcerating young people. This is about saving their lives at some point.
And Deputy Chief, you mentioned a couple of times on the screen that 60% of the arrests for violent crimes involved people that had prior charges. Is that just for quarter 3, or is that for the entire year?
Crystal, that
That's for quarter 3.
So for the entire year up to
Yes.
quarter 3. Okay. And then could you give an update on the off-duty officers, the jobs being offered to patrol transit? Are all of those spots being filled?
I don't think all of those spots are being filled. We have over, I believe it was 900 hours, and PIO can fact check and get that information to you, but it's over 900 hours set up in the system. So I believe it starts from 05:30 in the morning to 01:30 in the morning. So that encompasses pretty much from beginning to end of the day. And so all those positions are not filled, but they are available for officers to sign up.
Do you know what percentage are being filled?
No, I don't know. But we also, our divisions that have a light rail that runs through them are also utilizing directed patrols where community coordinators and patrol officers are riding the light rail in between as part of their zone checks.
And then one last question on repeat offenders. Is CMPD calling on the courts to have sentences that would keep people in jail longer instead of releasing them?
I mean, we have a great relationship with DA Merriweather and his team over there. But at the end of the day, it takes more than just CMPD and our relationship with the DA's office. You know, we have to do a deeper dive and see what's best for some of these repeat offenders. And so, you know, eventually the conversations will have to extend to the judges and the sentences that they're receiving. As far as the magistrate's office, I believe we have a homicide suspect in court today from our homicide on, I believe it was this past Sunday. Officers, again, detectives, did an outstanding job and took that subject into custody. I believe he has court today, and our hope is that he stays there so that way that victim's family can have some solitude.
Deputy Chief, just-
We'll have one more question.
Charlotte, Charlotte, are there any initiatives like EduCrown or Cruise planned for Latinos or Hispanic neighborhoods, not just uptown?
Well, like I said earlier, our goal is to, no matter what side of town that you're on, these efforts, we only talked about these efforts for uptown because that's been the center of attention, but we have a PACT initiative that's going on in North Tryon Division, in Metro Division. We have an initiative going on at Sugar Creek and 85 where there are focused efforts off of North Tryon corridor. We have an initiative near the BP gas station at North Sheridan and Harris and Hickory Grove Division. So we have proactive initiatives going on in almost every single division in Charlotte. It's just that today we focused on this. So if you want further details on that, we can follow up and get that to you.
Deputy Chief Riley, is Uptown safe?
Briley.
Scarlett Riley, sorry. Is Uptown safe?
Yes, it is. I come uptown.
Without your badge, without the guns, you just walk around uptown?
I secure my gun in a safe place when I come uptown, and I eat at restaurants and I spend time. We always tell no matter where you are, you can be in Ballantyne, you can be in Uptown Charlotte, you can be in University area. We want people to remain vigilant. If you see something, that's why we talked about say something. It's a matter, again, we don't diminish anyone's perception of their safety. We take that very serious. Yeah. No.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.